If you're over 50 and you can hold this single position for 2 minutes a day, you're building more lower body strength than most of the gym crowd doing weighted squats. It's called the horse stance. Chinese martial artists have used it for hundreds of years to forge the kind of legs that don't buckle, don't shake on stairs, and don't give out when you stand up from a chair. No equipment, no reps, no joints crashing through a range of motion. Just you, a quiet wall of muscle contracting from your glutes down to your calves, and a clock. The horse stance, known in Mandarin as mǎbù, is one of the oldest documented strength exercises in the world. It was a foundational training position in Shaolin Kung Fu and is still drilled today in Wing Chun, Tai Chi, and dozens of other Chinese martial arts schools. Traditionally, students were expected to hold it for 30 minutes or more before they were even allowed to learn a single strike. The thinking was simple. If your legs cannot stay steady under your own body weight, nothing you do on top of them will ever be stable. Now you don't need to hold it for 30 minutes. You don't even need to hold it for 5. Recent attention from physiotherapists and strength coaches has pulled this stance out of the martial arts tradition and into mainstream conversations about aging well, because of what it does to the muscles that matter most after 50. Here is the basic shape of it. You stand with your feet a little wider than shoulder width apart, toes pointing forward or very slightly outward. You bend your knees and lower your hips as if you are sitting back into an invisible bench. Your back stays tall and upright, not leaning forward. Your knees track over your toes, never collapsing inward. And then you stay there. That's the whole exercise. What is happening inside your body during that hold is the interesting part. Because you are not moving, the muscles do not get to rest between repetitions. Your quadriceps, the large muscles on the front of your thighs, fire continuously to keep your knees bent. Your glutes engage to keep your hips from sagging. Your adductors, the inner thigh muscles, work to hold your stance wide and stable. Your calves and the small stabilizing muscles around your ankles fire constantly to keep you from tipping forward or backward. This is what trainers call an isometric contraction, where the muscle generates force without changing length. And isometric work has a few specific advantages for adults over 50. The first advantage is joint safety. When you do a traditional squat, your knees travel through a range of motion under load. For anyone with arthritis, meniscus wear, or general knee sensitivity, that movement can be uncomfortable or risky. The horse stance asks your muscles to work hard while your joints stay still. You are loading the muscle, not grinding the cartilage. The second advantage is what happens to your strength and balance at the same time. Research on aging and mobility has consistently found that lower body strength starts declining in your mid-30s and accelerates sharply after 60. The muscles that fail first are the same ones the horse stance trains hardest. The quadriceps and glutes are what stand you up from a seated position. The ankle stabilizers are what catch you when you step on something uneven. When these muscles atrophy, your fall risk goes up. When you train them in an isometric hold, they get stronger without the wear and tear of high-impact movement. The third advantage is cardiovascular. Research on isometric exercise has consistently found that holds like wall sits and horse stances produce measurable reductions in resting blood pressure when practiced regularly. Some comparisons place isometric work ahead of aerobic exercise and dynamic resistance training for this specific outcome. The mechanism involves improved blood vessel responsiveness and reduced arterial stiffness, both of which tend to worsen with age. Here is how to begin safely if your knees are not what they used to be. The most important rule is this: you don't begin where the martial artists begin. You begin shallow. A senior modified horse stance starts with a tiny knee bend, maybe 10 or 15 degrees, with most of your weight still over your heels. If standing freely feels unstable, place a sturdy chair in front of you with the backrest facing you. rest your fingertips, not your full hands, on the top of the chair for balance. The chair is a safety net, not a support. The moment you find you are pushing down hard on it, your legs are doing too little and your arms too much. Ease back and bend less. Begin with a 5-second hold. That is not a typo. 5 seconds. Stand up out of the stance, walk a few steps to reset your circulation, and then go again. 3 to 5 rounds is enough for the first week. What you are doing is teaching your nervous system to recruit these muscles in a coordinated way before you ask them to endure. In week 2, you extend the hold to 10 seconds. In week 3, 20. By week 4 or 5, most adults over 50 can hold a shallow horse stance for 30 to 45 seconds without strain. From there, you can gradually deepen the knee bend a little at a time and stretch the duration toward the 1 to 2 minute target. The progression is slow on purpose. Tendons and connective tissue adapt more slowly than muscle, and rushing the depth or the duration is the most common way people end up with knee soreness. If you're finding this helpful so far, consider subscribing. New videos on simple, science-backed habits for healthy aging come out every week. There are a few form mistakes that show up over and over, and they are worth catching early because they turn a safe exercise into a risky one. The first mistake is letting your knees collapse inward. When fatigue sets in, your inner thigh muscles tire faster than your quads, and your knees start to drift toward each other. This puts shear stress on the inside of the knee joint, which is exactly what you do not want. Cue yourself constantly to push your knees outward, as if you are gently spreading the floor apart under your feet. Your knees should stay stacked directly over your second and third toes. The second mistake is leaning forward at the waist. People do this without realizing it, especially as the hold gets uncomfortable. Tipping forward shifts the work off your glutes and quads and onto your lower back, which is not built to carry that load. Your chest should stay lifted. Imagine a string pulling the crown of your head straight up toward the ceiling. If you cannot maintain that upright posture, you have gone too deep. Come up a few inches. The third mistake is holding your breath. Beginners almost always do this. They grit their teeth and clench their abdomen and try to muscle through the hold by going still and silent. But breath holding spikes your blood pressure and creates dizziness, which defeats the cardiovascular benefit and is genuinely dangerous if you have any heart concern. Breathe slow and steady through your nose. Count your breaths instead of counting seconds, especially in the longer holds. 6 relaxed breaths is about 30 seconds. The fourth mistake is doing it too often without recovery. Isometric work creates muscle fatigue and microscopic muscle damage, just like any resistance exercise. Daily holds at low duration are fine. Daily holds at maximum duration are not. If you are working toward the 2-minute target, do that hardest version 3 or 4 times a week, with lighter, shorter holds on the in-between days. Your muscles get stronger during recovery, not during the work itself. What makes the horse stance unusual is how little time and space it demands relative to what it gives back. You can do it in a kitchen, in a hallway, while you wait for the kettle to boil. There is no setup, no equipment to buy, no class to attend. And the dose response is real. Research on isometric training in older adults has found measurable strength gains within 4 to 6 weeks, with knock-on improvements in everyday tasks like stair climbing and standing up from a chair. There is something almost philosophically interesting about an exercise that asks you to do nothing visible. You stand. You breathe. You let your legs work in silence. No counting reps, no chasing personal bests, no performance to anyone watching. Chinese martial artists called this gong, the patient accumulation of small, repeated effort that builds something unshakable underneath. For an adult over 50 trying to keep walking confidently, climbing stairs without dread, and standing up from a chair without a hand on the armrest, that kind of quiet strength is exactly what is needed. Start with 5 seconds tomorrow morning, then 10 the day after. The legs you build will carry you for decades. If you found this useful, drop a comment and let us know how long you held your first horse stance.